Hey everybody, it's Chance here with another episode of PARANORMASIGHT The Mermaid's Curse. We are barreling toward the end, and I honestly think that this is probably the last episode too. I'd be surprised if it was much longer than this, considering we're basically closing off a lot of the tail ends at this point. So let's get right into it. Yuza Minakuchi meets Sato Shiranami, a fellow immortal in secret. Over the past month, it grows close to her. A decisive night befalls them. Oh, hello. The cool night is teeming with stars. The wind gently brushes the trees as the ocean waves echo in the distance. Looking over the sea puts my mind at ease. Sato sits quietly, watching the ebb and flow of the tide. I wonder what she's thinking about. Is she carefully contemplating what comes next? I can't just put it all on her, I need to think too. We don't have much time. Honestly, we really should have made up our minds long ago. But there's still a chance. I refuse to give up until it's all over. Oh, and that's why there's a deadline on the Yuza stuff, because he's trying to save Sato. When we were here yesterday, she told me how she felt. She said she'd loved me, that if it were somehow possible, she'd be with me forever. It must have taken some real courage. I actually feel kind of bad for making her say it, because I feel exactly the same way. Even though we've known each other for less than a month, I can't deny these feelings. I felt the same way, but I didn't have her courage. Either way, only one of us has days left to live, the other 795 years. Telling her how I felt would mean nothing. Worse, it would make that parting much harder. I thought I could bury my feelings somewhere they would never emerge from. For her part, I suppose she wanted to move on without leaving anything unsaid, with no regrets, even if nothing came of it. She knew it was futile, but she still said it anyway. And yet, once I let those feelings out, feelings that should have never been revealed, there was no controlling them anymore. My desire to spend the rest of my life with her burned like a searing flame in my chest. We contemplated possible ways for us to remain together, and the answer came to us surprisingly fast, an answer we shouldn't have even considered. But there was no time to concern ourselves with the right or wrong of it. We didn't even hesitate. The only one option was available to us, and we intended to take it. But there was hardly enough time to see it through. Hell, even if we had longer, the odds of our plan succeeding were dismally low. It was nothing more than a final vain act of rebellion. What are you thinking about? Huh? I was thinking about how we first met. A month ago. Yeah. Back then, you said you wouldn't bother me. You didn't seem interested in me at all. But that only made me more interested in you. Ah, so that's why you crept up behind me to scare me, huh? I wasn't trying to scare you. I just wanted to see your surprised face. So you were trying to scare me. Well, you honestly got me good. Haha, you definitely got me back the next day, even though I didn't admit it. I love that memory. With a memory like that, there's nothing else I need. I have no regrets. Come on, you can't be all fulfilled and complete already. We're only just getting started. Right. Only getting started. can't believe she was thinking about that day at a time like this. Of course she was. That carefree side of her is so dang adorable, though. I can't be upset with her. My heart won't stop racing. I've never felt this way before. At first I thought it was simply because we were both immortal and that our closeness was a feeling of kinship. But it's more than that. I've never gotten along with someone so well, especially someone who's lived such a different life from my own. It feels like I've found a missing piece of myself. My heart is whole when I'm with her. Our very souls are in harmony. Well, that might be pushing it a bit. Even Gran saw how compatible we were and urged me to get married already. That was too embarrassing for me to tell Sato about, though. There's no way I can lose her. I can't even conceive of a life without her. Even with 800 years of life ahead of me, I'll never meet anyone as remotely as amazing as her. If there was some way to use my immortality to stay with her, I'd do it in an instant. Whatever form I would have to take, I wouldn't complain. I'd sell my soul to the devil if it could get me what I desired. We've made up our minds. We'll see that final wish through no matter what. Sato Shiranami meets Yuza Minakuchi, a fellow immortal, in secret over the past month and grows closer to him. A decisive night befalls them. I mean, that was why we were getting the Tamatobacco. And we got it. The summer breeze feels perfect, and the clear sky is sparkling with stars. Nothing relaxes me more than the whisper of the tide and the breeze in the trees. I'm so happy. I only have 2 days left. Finding hope at a time like this feels like a miracle. I'd all but given up. I never thought I'd get a second chance. When we were here yesterday, I told Yuza how I felt. I told him I'd loved him, that if it were somehow possible, I'd stay by his side forever. I had planned on taking those feelings to the grave. But then it hit me. There wouldn't even be a grave for me. That's why I blurted it out. I was prepared for it to go badly, but he accepted my feelings. Still, I only have 2 days left, and it can't be any easier on him than it is me. After all, sharing our feelings changes nothing. It'll only make it harder to say goodbye. But Yuza confessed that he had been suppressing his feelings for the same reason. Hearing that made me wish I hadn't said it first. I can't feel feeling like I lost somehow. But looking back, that moment was the only time I could have said it, so I'm glad I did. However, now that it's all in the open, I thought we'd feel a sense of peace, but we don't. Far from it. It's not like we're a pair of tragic lovers in a story bound to die beautifully together or anything like that. I mean, if we could die together, then there'd be nothing to agonize over in the first place. So we started thinking of ways we could be together. The answer came to us surprisingly fast, but it was an answer that could only be described as taboo. Yuza asked me if I was sure I wanted to go through with it, but honestly, I didn't need to think twice. Like, yeah. Because we have the scale. It's technically part of a mermaid. And you could eat it. I don't know. I think she should and she could and she should. And like this time it would be like a choice. Because she didn't have the choice the first time around. It was just another man forcing himself upon her. Forcing his will upon her. That's like that whole thing. So her getting to make a choice, I think, is integral. I think if that's what it takes, then so be it. All I want to be is with him. But we're running out of time. Although, even if we had more time, the odds of our plan succeeding are almost zero anyway. Part of me wishes we'd make this plan much earlier. But maybe I needed this time for my feelings to reach their peak. Maybe this is just how it had to be. Better to think we made it just in time. I'll keep fighting this fate until the very end. Yuza is silently gazing out into the dark sea. I wonder what he's thinking about. I suppose he's seriously considering what lies ahead of us. What are you thinking about?
Oh, just our height difference.
Oh, my height's been bugging you?
Well, you know, we're gonna be like this forever.
Don't worry, even with 15 centimeters between us, you look great, Yuza.
Thanks, but that doesn't actually make me feel any better. They're so funny. I wish they got to grow old. They'd be such a funny old couple.
Hey, not your fault you were only in middle school when you became immortal. Nothing you can do now, you'll just have to live with it.
Man, if that had happened just 1 or 2 years later, I'd be at least 5 centimeters taller. Wait, even then I'd still be 10 centimeters shorter than you. Wow, that's crazy.
Sorry for being crazy tall.
It's fine. I don't care if there's a 15 centimeters difference between us. You're still my adorable Sato.
Thanks, but that doesn't really make me feel any better.
Still, you must have stood out a lot back in your time, huh?
Yeah, I was taller than most adult men back then. From what I can remember, I think everyone found me a bit creepy.
Sorry to hear it. It's not like you could have helped it.
Well, they treated me like some kind of monster because of it. Most people straight up avoided me.
That's awful.
On the other hand, I do remember at least one person back then who kept trying to woo me.
Who was that?
Sounds like someone was jealous.
I ain't the kind of guy who obsesses over his girlfriend's past. What's done is done.
Nah, nice line. I bet you've been wanting to say that one for ages.
Still, I mean, you've been alive for so long, there's way too much history to worry about.
Fair point. I honestly barely even remember him myself, and he sucked. Although, I don't think I liked him all that much. He was just someone important I couldn't say no to, or something like that.
Huh, really? That's good to hear.
At least as far as I can remember, anyway. I thought you didn't care.
Well, I guess you having so much more experience under your belt makes me feel a bit out of your league.
I see. Well, I'm the one who confessed to you, so I guess we'll call it even for now.
Right, that works for me. Not sure what's even exactly, but I'll take it.
They're so silly. I really like them. Part of me wishes we'd made this plan much earlier. But maybe I needed this time. Okay. So I would have assumed he'd be thinking about tomorrow's plan. I never imagined he might be thinking about what comes after that. He's so sure we're going to succeed. Knowing that makes me feel so much more confident. His easygoing attitude is actually reassuring me right now. I'm so glad he's here with me. Yeah, I think they really work for me. You know what? They really work for me. I think the game has earned it. They're also a bit T for T coded to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just easy for me to say that a character I like, I think, is trans, but I do think it is that easy to just say it. You can do whatever you want, and you should. My heart won't stop racing. I've never felt this way before. I didn't think I could feel something new after living for 800 years. The fact that he's an 800-year immortal too probably has something to do with it. With him I feel safe. There's nothing I'd be afraid to tell him. But that's not all there is to it. There are some people you could know for decades and still not fall in love with them. And there are those you know you can live without barely a second after you've met. Even a bond that's lasted centuries can fall apart in a single day. Love isn't measured by time. Maybe it's too much to say we're soulmates, but that's how it feels to me. Even Suyu's been saying we should get married because we're clearly made for each other. Not that I've told Yuza that. That'd be way too embarrassing. I love this. Suyu's just like, I love my grandson. I love Sato like she's my granddaughter. And she could be. Yuza, get on it. And she's even like telling Sato that too. It's just like, really, we could just make it official. You could just make it official that you're my granddaughter. Queen. I love Suyu. She's funny. I don't want to say goodbye to Yuza. It feels like I've waited 800 years for him, and now a lot of things might be destroyed tomorrow. Everything the islanders have been protecting, heck, even some relationships might crumble. But still, we're going to do it. We've made up our minds. We'll see our final wish through no matter what. My apologies for the interruption. I simply wish to confirm your understanding of a certain point. Yuza Minakuchi and Sato Shiranami attempted in vain to hide their feelings for one another, and now they are hatching a plan. Considering how much you've remembered already, I'm certain you'll recall this fact as well. So let me ask you, what can be done to interline two lives that were never meant to stay together? What? Be shaved bald. Sato Shiranami must once again be made immortal, you say. That is correct! And you chose the right answer on your first attempt. Very well done indeed. Well, it makes sense. You've given me all the clues. Indeed, as there is no way to undo the curse of an 800-year immortal. The only way for them to remain together would be to somehow obtain the flesh of a mermaid. They believe they have no choice but to make Sato Shiranami live for another 800 years. As such, the plan they hatched was to obtain a second helping of immortality. A truly radical concept. Such method goes against the very laws of nature, but it is not my place to judge. Please enjoy the continuation of their story. I told Azami about our plan to find a mermaid, and he's agreed to help. We'll go diving tomorrow morning and hopefully find a clue. I'm sorry I can't be of more help. I can't remember anything else. But I'm sure there was a mermaid on Taishima. Don't worry about it. At least now we know where to start the search. It really feels like my mom had some sort of connection with mermaids though, huh? Definitely. So you showed me that scale and it really looked like it came from a mermaid. How strange would it be if it turned out your mom was actually a mermaid all along? Yeah, but even I think that's a bit of a leap. If I start diving out in the Southern Sea, people are going to start bounding to talking about my mom again. Which will give us the chance to hear more details that we might not be aware of. That's the hope anyway. I've tried to keep my head down as much as I could until now, but I can't sit idly anymore. Lately there's been talk about the island of ominous signs. Maybe that'll work in our favor. You mean the people talking about the storm coming? Yeah, that might be the push we need. Also, about the person you said you met today. Yumiko Shiki from the Paranormal Affairs Bureau, was it? She definitely seems like she knows something. Yeah, there's something suspicious about her. I think she didn't pay too much attention to me because she knows I don't have much longer to live. But she apparently has the power to detect immortals and when she finds them, she locks them up somewhere. They've been watching me too, so they might already have their suspicions. I'll be careful. It's pretty wild to think that we're being hunted by government authorities, though. Guess people like us really can't be allowed to exist. Oh my god, what if Yuza and Sato, they just live, I could imagine them just like living their life on this island. But imagine them being paranormal agents. I know they're cops, I know, that would make them cops. But also, I think they'd be a dynamic duo. I think if I was in an area with a supernatural occurrence coming and Yuza and Sato showed up, just being who they are to try to solve it, that would be great. That would be so fun. I would play a game of that. I don't think they'd like a Mulder and Scully. Well, not really. They don't. That's not quite the vibe. But it could be really cute. That would be really good, I think. I don't think they'd be too happy about searching for mermaid flesh either. It'd be great if we could somehow get some information out of them. That might be difficult. We didn't even know if they'll be coming back to Kamishima tomorrow. True, I guess we could always go to the mainland. Yuza? Yeah? Do we really have to be so secretive about it? Couldn't we tell Tsukasa and Izami everything and ask them to help us? It's not that I don't trust them, because I do. It's just the more people there are that know a secret, the more likely it is to come out. If people find out there's a way to become immortal, that'll cause a total uproar. Even the police would be after us then. Heck, every person who wants to live forever would be looking for us. We can't afford a zombie in Tsukasa to get caught up in all that. You're right. If anyone's gonna get locked up, it should just be us. Exactly. That's why we should keep our mermaid search as quiet as possible. Besides, if we told anyone else, it'd be harder to get your immortal heart all hidden. But won't it all come out when the police come around asking questions? I guess I can just play dumb and pretend I don't know anything until they come up with some solid evidence. We probably shouldn't let people know about us either. It'll just make it harder for us to continue our search. Yeah, I guess you're right. Let's try and stay apart as much as possible from tomorrow, just to be safe. As of now, I doubt anyone knows about our relationship. Yeah, I'm sure no one has caught on yet. Let us avoid all unnecessary contact while we each continue searching for mermaid flesh on our own. We can set up specific times to meet up and share information, but we'll have to make sure no one sees us together. Right, I'll avoid interacting with you in public. And if we do need to contact each other in an emergency, we can leave some kind of signal at a place we often walk by. Oh, I know, I'll leave this Kamishimaru keychain in front of the town clock. If you see it there, do you think you could come to the roof of the Kantakisho? Oh, that's the one I gave you. Okay, Kamishimaru can be our go-between. I guess that gives us 2 days to find out what we need. I know it'll take a miracle, but we can't give up. Right. Okay. So apparently there should be a save file that's blurry and that wasn't there before. Okay. Yeah. It's a little spooky, isn't it? I still have that message you left me, you know? Wait, you do, but it must have dried up ages ago. The thoughts I wove into it should have faded, too. Surely you can't hear the message anymore. Yep, I can't hear a word. But it doesn't matter. It's an important memento, and a part of you as well. That's enough for me to treasure it. Oh, come on, you're going to make me blush. I was really happy when you shared this with me all that time ago. Well, you know. I can't just show myself in front of anyone, can I? Ah, memories. Is there really no way to hear the message again after it's dried up? If you found a way to return it to the environment of the eternal world, it would be restored to its original state, so you might be able to hear it then. Ooh, you can do that. Using the Tamatabaka would probably do it. Oh, but I don't think a normal human would be able to hear the message anymore. Sorry, I guess it's impossible after all. Oh, that's too bad. This is Mare and, Sobai, I think. Ah, but if you were a spirit, you might be able to hear it by retracing the echo it left in your mind. Wait, wouldn't I have to be dead for that? That's a no-go then. These memories, could they have belonged to a mermaid? Now can I do this? Also, while looking, apparently there are 2 endings tied to Avi, so I might mess around with that and see how to get those. Here it is. There's something about it I can't put my finger on. What? What should I do with it? Put it in the Tamatabako! Maybe something will happen if I put this in the Tamatabako. Okay. It's in. Haha, there we go. Hello, Mare. Can you hear me? I tried to weave my thoughts into this scale to leave you a message. I hope it reaches you. Listen, I came up with a secret signal for when you need to call me.
From now on, if you don't use the signal, I won't respond, so be careful. You need to call me 4 times, leaving at least 3 seconds before each. That's the rule. Don't forget it. It's a promise just between you and me. And we return to the title. You need to call me 4 times, leaving at least 3 seconds between each. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hey. Oh. You know that signal, do you? That signal is extremely important to me. I won't just allow anyone to use it, least of all on some childish whim. First of all, I have to be sure. Who are you? And we're supposed to put Yuza, because he is the... Huh. Yuza. So you do know. And so you do know. Allow me to welcome you, Yuza Minakuchi, or rather, Yuza Minakuchi's severed consciousness. I am the mermaid called Sobai. You've passed through here 21 times now. I suppose it's not that strange you noticed me. This is the place you humans call Ryugu. Though I hear it's also called things like the Eternal World and the World Beyond. Feel free to call it what you like. Whatever the name, it is one of the many worlds of the souls of the departed move on to after life. Well, I suppose that's not entirely accurate. The space we're in now serves more as a boundary than anything else. There's something else I thought to talk to you about. Something I had to talk to you about if we had ever met. Though, I never thought you'd come seek me out like this, in the form you are now. But it seems you have your own reasons for doing so. You wish to speak with me, yes? So, what shall we talk about first? Tell me about my mom. You're asking if Mari and I were friends. I am only going to say this once. You might be Mari's son, but I won't stand for you intruding upon our relationship. The relationship Mari and I had can't be described as so simple as words of friends. This isn't the only world that souls of the dead journey to afterlife, you know. Their number is immeasurable. There are worlds beyond counting. Mari's soul has gone somewhere far, far away. Even here in Ryugu, I won't be able to see her again. So don't ask me anymore. Leave me to my memories of her. Is there anything else? What do you mean by boundary? How to explain? This is a space that connects the 2 worlds you can travel between. The world the living Yuza Minakuchi inhabits, and the world that you, a severed portion of Yuza Minakuchi's consciousness, usually exists in. As a spirit, you will always pass through this space when traveling the world of the living. Normally, something like this would be unthinkable, if not impossible. But it seems you're something of an exception. Was there something else? What happened on the day of the disaster? Oh, yes, of course you'd want to know about that. I do owe you an explanation of what happened back then. 5 years ago, on the day the calamity struck. Let's get this out of the way first. I was indeed the one who made you an 800-year immortal. But if you've come here looking for a way to regain your humanity, I'm sorry, but that's no longer possible. Even as a mermaid, there's nothing I can do. Or rather, the Yuza Minakuchi of the mortal world, are now bound to live out the remaining 795 years of your life there, neither aging nor dying. Nothing can reverse this now. Now then, let me tell you of what happened on that day 5 years ago, and about the years leading up to it. One of the 3 mermaids. After becoming unable to return to Ryugu, Sobai had ceased to show herself on the surface, even before the members of the Somikano line. However, upon noticing that 400 years had passed since the sinking of Taishima, she cautiously attempted contact with the current generation's inheritor of the family duty, a woman by the name of Mare Somekawa. In the past, any humans she encountered had either treated her as an object of worship or sought her flesh. Perhaps as a result, she immediately sensed something was different about Mare, who treated her in a friendly manner from the moment of their meeting and promised to do all she could to return her to Ryugu. There was no pretense in Mare's bearing, and her attitude when speaking to Sobai was casual and lighthearted. Gradually, Sobai began to open up to her. After some time, they agreed on a secret signal and began meeting surreptitiously, growing closer the more they learned about each other. A strange sense of trust began to blossom between them, one transcending the boundaries of their respective species. Mare had originally resolved to remain single and never start a family of her own in order to devote herself entirely to her duty with Sobai. However, Sobai strongly opposed this, saying that Mare's life here would continue when she was gone, so Mare should not deny herself a possible future with her own family. She had seen how happy one of her former compatriots had been upon finding love, and believed Mare was deserved to know such joy as well as she wished to. Mare seemed unbothered by that thought, but she said that she would consider if something suitable ended up coming along. However, that moment came sooner than expected. Upon moving to Kamishima, she met the love of her life, Tosuke Minakuchi. Sobai was delighted for Mare, and offered her heartfelt congratulations upon hearing of their marriage. While she did not understand the joy of having a family herself, she was gratified to see Mare so happy. It was Mare's constant wish to be able to introduce her beloved family to her dearest friend, but it was forbidden to reveal the existence of mermaids to anyone, even her husband and child. Eventually, the two reached a compromise. Sobai said she would meet them when the time came for her to return to Ryugu, reasoning that there should be no harm in revealing herself for such a short span of time. This agreement became a cherished promise between them. Thus did the years continue to pass, Mare's son growing up all the while, until the day of the Kamishima Southern Sea disaster. In the days leading up to the disaster, a strange rumbling could be heard from the sea. Sobai took this as a sign the storm was caused by the curse of the raging waves. The curse of the raging waves was approaching, and she and Mare mistakenly concluded that this meant that Seal and Ryugu's entrance would soon be lifted. I see. But it was in fact it was perhaps Tomoshige who sucks. It caused this problem. Although the timing was earlier than expected, the two were overcome with excitement at the thought that Sobai could finally fulfill her long-held dream of returning home, and couldn't bring herself to doubt the signs. They put together a plan. Even if the storm were to come while they were out at sea, Mare could use the bronze mirror to suppress it, allowing Sobai to pass through the entrance of Ryugu alone. Resolved that they would part ways, the two finally spent one final night together, talking until the sun rose. On the day their plan would be put into action, Mare took Tosuke and Yuza out to the bay on a boat to introduce them to Soba as promised. Although pained to have been part with Sobai, she was buoyed by the thought that she could now be able to devote herself fully to motherhood and to her family that had always protected her without reservation. Sobai, meanwhile, was secretly trailing them from the seabed. Disliking the sound of propellers, she was able to go to the boat while it was moving. The storm that suddenly broke out around them far exceeded all expectations. Even the bronze mirror was not enough to calm it, and the sea churned and roiled around them as the heavens themselves were unleashing their wrath. The small fishing boat carrying the Minakuchi family suddenly began to take on water, and it was not long before it started to sink. Sobai immediately rushed to their aid, reaching them just as they fitted Yuza with a life buoy and gotten him off the boat. The couple still clung desperately to the sinking boat as it was tossed around the waves. Upon seeing Sobai, Sosuke's reaction was surprisingly composed. Whether he had already resolved to meet his fate or just mellow by nature, his first response to after Mare introduced her was to greet her cheerfully, thanking her for keeping Mare company and expressing surprise that Mare's faraway friend had turned out not to be human. Sobai, however, had no time for pleasantries. Consumed by only the thought of getting them to safety, she tried to carry them off in the boat, but even the single person proved too much for her. Naturally, she also lacked the strength needed to tow the boat out of danger. Even her nature as a mermaid wasn't enough to allow her to save someone precious to her when it mattered most. Filled with distress for her own powerlessness, Sobai was overcome by a depth of despair. Frantic, she tried to take only Mare with her bid to escape the sinking boat, but Mare rebuffed her attempt. She said she had no intent of being the only one saved. Instead, she and Tosuke pleaded for Sobai to help Yuza, and saying that his survival meant more than him to anything else. Sobai could not understand. She refused to. She had prepared herself to bid farewell to Mare, but parting like this was too painful for her to bear. Mare, for her part, continued apologizing to Sobai despite the looming threat of her own death, concerned for her friend's safety and feeling a deep regret at being unable to send Sobai back home. It was more than Sobai could stand. At that moment, Sobai's innermost feelings came into sharp relief. Part of her, deep down, resented Yuza and Tosuke with all her being. She was happy as long as she had Mare, but Mare had her family to love as well. And yet it was Sobai herself who had wished for Mare to find happiness by starting a family of her own. Overwhelmed by unfamiliar emotions of conflict and self-loathing, she found herself unable to think clearly. I mean, obviously, she was in love with Mare. I think it is more I do think, Sobai doesn't have the word for it in the same way, or I don't even think it's necessarily even that straightforward even. I do think it's more complicated. Sobai was devastated. Every part of her rejected the entire situation. She didn't want to hear Mare bid farewell to her like this. She didn't want to part with Mare at all. She wanted to grab hold of her friend and carry her away to safety by force if necessary. Even returning home to Ryugu no longer mattered to her as much as this. But she couldn't ignore Mare's plea to save her son. Wrenching herself away from the sinking boat, Sobai headed to rescue Yuza, all while resenting the boy for the tremendous love that Mare bore him. When she found Yuza, he had been caught up in a whirlpool and was barely clinging to life. Soba caught herself feeling almost satisfied at the sight, thinking that it served him right. If it hadn't been for Yuza, she could have saved Mare. But Mare's plea for her to save Yuza, that her only wish was for him to survive, echoed in Sobai's mind. The next moment, she dragged the dying Yuza out of the whirlpool and, pulling a piece off her own tail, forcibly fed it to him. Whether the other emotions driving her at this point were a desire to fulfill Mare's wish or hatred toward Yuza, even Soba couldn't say herself. After carrying Yuza out of the reach of the storm, Sobai immediately went to rescue Mare. She finally found her after 3 long days of searching, but her efforts had been in vain. Mare's body was already cold. Once someone had died, it was beyond even a mermaid's power to bring them back. Sobai clung to Mare's body and wept. Never again would she hear Mare's voice calling her name. She laid Mare's body to rest on the seabed, and, hiding herself beside it, spent her days mourning, lost in the depths of despair. Several years later, the entrance of Ryugu was unsealed, and Sobai, now with no remaining attachments to the mortal world, made to return home by herself. Before doing so, she met with Mare's sister, thinking to reclaim the mermaid's relic from her. However, put off by the woman's blatant avarice, she found herself unable to muster any interest in her, and ultimately returned without reclaiming the relic despite knowing full well what misfortune it could bring. Looking back now, what I did to you was wrong. It was an extreme situation, yes, but I must have been mad to even consider it. Every time I remember, I wonder what on earth I was thinking. How could I have done something so cruel to the son Mare loved so much? Even though nothing had happened to you as that was your fault. I don't expect you to forgive me, but at least let me say this. I'm sorry. I would do anything within my power to ease your burden. There's something you can do. What? You want a piece of my flesh, but why? I suppose it's not impossible. You could bring it back to the mortal world using the relic I left there. Normally, this would be forbidden, but I suppose I was the cause of all this. Maybe it counts as an attempt to make amends, if nothing else. There. It's done. I'll send it to the other side. You'll be able to take it from the box there. The mermaid's flesh has been transferred to Tamatabako. The current holder of the box may claim it as their own from the evening of August 7th. It seems you've done everything you came to do. Then this is where we part ways. I know that I won't respond anymore, even if you called me again with that symbol. Having a means of calling me was prohibited in the first place. Live and be happy, Yuza, for Mare's sake. for all the years she never got to see. Be sure to tell him that when we return to him in the mortal world. Nothing happened. Darn. Seems like nothing's changed. Let me put it back on the shelf where it belongs. Actually, she's going to be okay. Huh? Sorry, I've been keeping this a secret, but I didn't know it, and so suddenly I did. Oh, it's the memories of the last summer. Oh. Yuzu Minakuchi has done everything he must do. All that's end is to let us see out the end. Oh, and now I see we could get some endings for Avi by him keeping the Tamatabako. All your efforts have truly been remarkable. The fact that you're seeing this means all of Yuzu Minakuchi's wishes have been fulfilled. You must have overcome countless hardships and resolved every dilemma. Congratulations! Now then, as you may be confused as what exactly has transpired, allow me to explain. Yuzu Minakuchi's true objective was to obtain the flesh of a mermaid. This was to fulfill his oath to making of Sato Shiranami immortal again before her imminent demise, that they might live 800 more years together. However, who could have expected multiple curses to strike Kamishima at the very same time? That's just very funny. Yes, I'm referring to the Curse of the Raging Waves, born 4 centuries ago, and the Curse of Tomashige, which had built up over 800 years. While such calamities would appear to offer naught but misfortune, as luck would have it, these curses were blessings in disguise. They led Yuzu Minakuchi down a path that would very otherwise not have been possible. One could very well call it a miracle. The key to all of this was, of course, your efforts. Now, I shall describe each pivotal event of the story in normal order of occurrence. One fated day, August 7th, Yuzu Minakuchi went diving and searched Kamishima for leads to find mermaids. However, that night, Kipei Koma sent Kikuko Tsutsui as an assassin to cause the tragedy of Kamishima, thereby allowing him to capture Sato. This shifted Yuzu Minakushi's priorities away from his search for mermaid's flesh, as he is tragically killed and his mission ends in failure. It would seem that fulfilling his wishes was never in the cards, and he instead met with a terrible fate. However, the consciousness lingering within his severed head witnessed something inexplicable. It was the sight of his 800-year immortal generating a new head! With that, a new mind, complete with all the memories intact, formed inside the regenerated head of resurrected Yuzu Minakuchi's. That severed head then disappeared, yet the consciousness that had remained within it did not return to his body. Rather, it became a spirit that crossed over to the afterlife, what some might call the eternal world. Thus was another consciousness separate from Yuzu Minakuchi's primary body formed, and the separated consciousness was you. You once asked who am I? But, may I assume the answer has now become clear? This separate consciousness of Yuzu Minakuchi remained in the eternal world, despite the firm resolve it held, growing ever more anguished over its failure, without knowing what had occurred afterwards. It dearly desired to find a way to return to its past self, and explain the situation before this failure could take place. So it found its way to the boundary between the mortal world and the world of beyond. That is to say, it found its way here, to Ryukyu.
This is the place you laid your eyes on at the very beginning. This is where your duty began. The fact that this place just happens to be where the mermaids reside turned out to be a stroke of luck. Yet because you would lose all memories of this fact once you pass through the gate of the mortal world, I stepped in to humbly guide you along your path. Then, as a spirit, you encountered Yuzuminekuchi during his dive to the bottom of the sea. Because you resembled a phenomenon known as the Tomokazuki, you were referred to as such. That's so interesting, because essentially if you had not in the beginning of the game run into the Tomokazuki, you could theoretically have gotten that after doing that initial part and then gotten the title drop and everything. But we got it like right away, basically. But that's a fun thematic. That's a fun thing that you can add. That's fun. Needless to say, you were not a Tomokazuki. Yet, that is how you possessed Minakuchi and shared your memories, even though it was not enough. In your spirit form, you had the ability to use the story chart and travel across space and time to possess other individuals. You entered the minds and memories of various people, jumping between each in turn as you earnestly thought to realize your goals. And that is how things progressed behind the scenes to this story. You have fulfilled your role and will now return to the world from whence you came. After you have reviewed what becomes of everyone, following these events, this Paranormasight will finally draw to a close. Thank you so much for your diligent attention. Oh, so you've decided to accept your inheritance, but you're going to university first. Uh-huh. The wheels are in motion for me to take over the family business after studying real hard at university. Your whole life must be undergoing some major changes. Are you managing okay? You don't have too much on your plate. Actually, about that. Get this. Turns out my ma used to be a certified public accountant. I had no idea. Anyway, the plan is for ma to manage all the assets while I'm studying my butt off. It actually helps that, like, the mom is involved in the picture. She was apparently waiting like a hawk for the moment to swoop in and make sure you got everything coming to you. I don't know if I should call her cunning, but Tsukasa's mom sure knows how to get things done. That's wild. Oh, that reminds me. There was something I wanted to ask you, Azami. You mentioned wanting to ask Tsukasa out the other day. So how'd that go? Sato, are you seriously asking that right in front of everyone? Jeez. I mean, I guess it's fine since I already asked her, but that could have ruined everything. Wait, you did? When did this all go down? Oh, I couldn't help myself. I've been dying to know. I had to ask even if it messed up your mojo. You sure of something else, Sato? Anyway, if you need answers that bad, you should ask Tsukasa. So, what did you say, Tsukasa? How did he ask? Where was it? Tell us already. You're way too invested, Miss Encyclopedia. You know how things are with me right now. The truth is, I haven't given him an answer yet. Oh, but at least it's not an outright rejection. How long are you gonna make him wait? Gotta do some soul searching to figure out how I feel and need everything to settle down, so like 4 to 5 years? That long? You're gonna be keeping the poor guy along that whole time? Right? On top of that, she asked for my help in the meantime. It's almost like I care for her or something. Your help? Yup. I want to take over for Old Man Wakamura and make Kamishima the best place it can be. I want it to be way more convenient and bustling than it is now. An island that tourists flock to, you know? That means I'll need to start a business to manage that. And as you can see, I've got loads of stuff to do. That's why I need you to give it all your all as the leader of Kamishima, Azami. Yeah, I guess all that I want that Kamishima... this recording has been going for a very long time, you can tell. That sounds great, and Azami will definitely be a big help. My plan is to have Azami rise up in the ranks and help me out with a whole bunch of stuff. Once he becomes a big shot like the mayor or something, maybe then we can start going out. What? That'll take way too long. I'll be an old geezer by then. See what I mean? This is what I have to deal with. Seems like the cunningness runs in the family.
Well, you've got something to strive for now. Good luck with it.
Quit your belly-aching, Izami. We're doing this for Sato and Yuza too, you know?
Yeah, I know. We've talked about it all over before. Huh? What do you mean you're doing it for us?
Let's just say, we were surprised when we heard about you guys the other night.
Ah.
About how you became immortal yourself 5 years ago, yeah? In that stage, you'd secretly gotten your hands on some mermaid flesh for Sato. And now Sato has become an immortal for the second time. Add the fact that you guys have been decided to stay together for the next 800 years, it was a lot to swallow at once.
Yeah, sorry for dropping such a huge bombshell on you guys. Also, to be precise, we're going to be together for the next 795 years. What's 5 years ago and you got centuries? 5 years is a long time.
Yeah, he's right. And we're going to discuss the idea for going another 800 years when we get close to the end.
Yeah, okay, whatever. That's up to you guys. Do whatever you want. They're so funny, I love them. But don't forget you owe us for keeping such a big secret from us the entire time. Got it?
For real. See, I told you we should have gotten their advice from the start.
Yeah, you have been saying that from the get-go.
I know you said you'd live on the down low in Kamishima because it'd be a whole other thing if people found out about you two, but
people will eventually start getting suspicious, even if you try to lead normal lives. What are you going to do then?
Well, we kind of assumed it would all work out somehow.
Sure, we haven't really thought about it at all. We figured as much. That's why we're going to protect the two of you.
Huh? We'll make some rules on the island, so no one will get suspicious of you no matter how long you choose to live.
I mean, it's going to take some time to put our plans into action, but I'm sure we'll be calling the shots around here by the time some people start thinking there's something fishy going on with you guys. I was thinking we could build a shrine for you two to live up in the mountains.
Ooh, a shrine? That sounds incredible.
With a flat screen TV.
We can say the gods are enshrined there, so people shouldn't go near it without permission.
Then I'll make sure the descendants of the Kumoi family are protectors of the shrine all the way down to the family line, so they'll always protect you. The Somekawa family managed to pass down their legend for 400 years, so I bet my family could handle a shrine for 800 years or so.
That's so thoughtful, but I feel kind of bad for making you guys worry so much, not to mention several generations of your family.
It's totally fine, don't mention it. Nothing makes me happier than seeing you and Sato together like this. I know you guys went through a lot to get to this point. Yuza, I'm really happy for you. Zami, I'm seriously so happy for you. Like, seriously overjoyed.
You're so cute.
You heard the man. That's why we won't let anyone get in the way of all this happiness.
Zami, Tsukasa, thank you both so much.
Oh, Tsukasa, the fact that you think up all these plans for us just means the world to me.
Well, there is one other reason. Yuza's never been the type to look before he leaps, so we have to be around to make sure he doesn't get into any more trouble.
Ah, good point.
Hey, that's not true. You're the one who always gotten me into messes, Izami.
Nope, you're both wrong. You guys have any idea how much apologizing I've had to do for you guys over the years? Oh, but you're gonna make it up to me now. I'll work you both to the bone. You too, Sato, we're gonna put Kamishima on the map.
You got it. Just tell me what to do. Let's all keep getting each other into and out of trouble from here on out. There is a legend in Kamishima. It is a story passed down to the generations about two gods in the guise of a young man and a young woman. They would often leave their shrine disguised as ordinary humans and happily stroll through the town. On occasion, they would sneak off the island and travel around the country before returning home. The people of the island would stop and give a small bow whenever they came across the couple and silently watch as they went on their way. No one knew from whence the pair had come. Their history was shrouded in mystery. But it is said that this mischievous, playful, and intimately harmonious couple would always look upon each other with pure joy. There was apparently only one inviolable rule concerning the pair. One must never sneak up and startle them from behind, as they will jump and get scared.
Several decades after those events. The original stories, they take place in the 80s, so if we're going to present day, that's 40 years or so. The country has seen 2 new emperors reign, and people without any detailed knowledge of those fateful days have grown far and few between. Now, the Kantakisho ruins of Kamishima have become a sacred place for lovers, with couples flocking to it to strengthen their bonds. On this day, the young visitors who happened to come see the sights spotted a young man and a young woman together on the roof of the Kantakisho ruins, gazing happily out to sea. They're so cute.
遠く潮騒い風渡り夜しき波歌方の寂しいよさりいでだ
end. My friends. I'm so glad things turned out happily. That's so sweet. Oh, it's so cute. It's so sweet. I just... Delightful. Now, to the nature of the two Avi Barnum events and the two things we need to do. So, I am first actually going to get ending 3, which requires you to A, kill Kikuko, and B, fail as Sato to get the Tamatabako. So we're gonna do that. Okay. Then an exciting Issei Shime adventure. Avi and Cersei managed to keep the Tamatabako safely in their possession, and leave Kamishima to search for Kippei Ikoma.
And so, Cersei and Avi made their way back to Toba in search of Kippei Ikoma.
Who are you talking to?
Feels more exciting this way, doesn't it?
You might be right. But it seems like we've just missed him.
Even though he claimed he's afraid of the ocean. The people at the port said he left for Kamoshida on a chartered boat.
There are more ferries today. There are no more ferries today, so we have no way of getting back to the island.
I'm afraid there's not much else we can do. Well, as long as we got the Tamatabako, there might be another chance someday. Cersei, what's wrong?
I don't know, but the Tamatabako is giving off a strange spiritual energy.
Oh, I did notice it's a bit heavier than before. Let's take a look. Oh, there's something inside?
Huh? Something just appeared inside?
What's this? A chunk of flesh. My goodness. Could this belong to a mermaid?
Like, I don't think you would have... I mean, unless, like, you failed those segments. Then I suppose... Yeah, but I could see that if you failed those segments and decided to continue... that you got this, and that it's just like, okay, can we get back to Sato and Yuza, please? I love... Do not get me wrong. I think Cersei and Avi are really a lot of fun, but let's be honest here. They're the heart of the game and the heart of the story. Wait, what? Is it real? It exudes an incredible spirit energy. Whatever it is, it's extraordinary. Doesn't this feel too good to be true? It could be a trap or a curse.
I actually found it. The gods haven't forsaken me after all. Thank you, world. I accept your gracious offering.
Yeah, are you seriously going to eat a chunk of mystery meat just like that? What's wrong with you?
Well? Not particularly good. Very watery, not much fat, no real texture. But it's not too fishy, so fried Mineri style, it might not be half bad.
That's all well and good, but I wasn't talking about the taste. I'm not planning on trying any. How do you feel? Is immortality setting in?
I don't feel any different.
Want me to stab you or something?
Whoa, slow down! What if it didn't work? Then I'd suffer a painful skewering for nothing.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure painful things will still hurt you even when immortal. And just as far as I understand it, an immortal bori just doesn't generate unless you're fatally wounded.
In that case, I must politely decline. I'm not the biggest fan of pain, you see. Anyway, I'm sure I'll find out if it worked one day. And the fact that we got hold of the Tamatabako was already worth the trip.
Well, as long as you're happy, that's all that matters.
And that concludes Avi and Cersei's exciting Issei Shima adventure. Thanks for reading, everyone.
Ah, he's narrating again.
Well now, I suppose I'll be heading back to the US. What about you, Cersei?
I think I'll keep exploring the Key region for a little while longer. I was thinking of paying a visit to Kumano Gongen.
That was the deity of the Kumano region, right?
That's the one. Actually, it's a collective term for deities enshrined in the 3 grand shrines known as the Kumano Sanza.
The end. I love how flat that was. It's just like, okay, the end. Here we go.
And thus, after obtaining the flesh of a mermaid, Avi's wish came true, and he was granted an 800-year lifespan. However, soon after, Avi was detained at the airport by the Paranormal Affairs Bureau under suspicion of murdering Kikuko Tsutsui with a curse. It was the mangled half-flesh remains of Kukio Tsutsui washed ashore on the coast of Toba that brought the cam to light. Avi fought back furiously, yelling and demanding to get a lawyer and saying he refused to talk and he did everything he could to avoid conviction. In the end, the case never went to court. However, citing the rule that 800-year immortals must be sealed away, a decision was made. From that day on, Arnav Barnum, the cheerful fantasy novelist, was never seen in public again. The fall of Arnav Barnum. You can see why I didn't want to end on that. You can see why I didn't want to end on that. And thus, after obtaining the flesh of a mermaid, Avi's wish came true, and he was granted an 800-year lifespan. A man like him, who constantly seeks out new adventure, would most assuredly never encounter a dull day in those 800 years. Living his life to the fullest, he traveled the world in an everlasting search of thrilling mysteries and marvels. In the mid-21st century, his novel, The Tale of Never-Ending Youth, which was inspired by his own experiences, became a surprise worldwide hit. The live-action adaptation by a major US studio proved a major success, spawning a merchandise and a theme park that made him a wealthy man. Always smiling until his final days, he proudly proved that even after 800 years, not all glory is doomed to fade. In the 27th century, he wrote the following words in his journal. The world keeps on turning. Compared to its birth and the riches of its history, 800 years is far too short. Arnav Barnum. The glory of Arnav Barnum. And that is it for Paranormasight, The Mermaid's Curse. I had such a blast with this game. I had such a blast. It definitely feels like I feel like they clearly learned from making the first game, and it shows. Because I just don't know. I feel like the storytelling is daft. The characters, like the way the scenes are, like the way the scenes are directed, I guess, and staged, and like I really like that first game. And I think what also helps is like I do think the first game, the ending kind of fell apart a bit. It didn't fully land it. There were some things, but this one feels a little more tight, you know? Right? Like, some stuff, like, I think it depends on how you feel about certain executions of things, but I think is I really like the characters, I like the mystery stuff, even if I didn't figure it out 100% of the time, like, I experienced enough of it to know, I experienced all of it, to know, like, I don't know, I really, really liked this game. I really, really liked it. I thought it was good fun. I thought it was well told. I really, really liked the characters. It was really engaging. I don't know, I really liked this cast. I thought their journey was really fun. It is about Yuza and Sato in a real way, and it's about Kamishima too, right? So like, Yumiko and Arnav are important for making the story move forward, you know, like they're necessary for that. But they aren't like main characters in the way Yuza and Sato are, you know, like Soto isn't. I think it's interesting because like basically Yuza is, I don't think Sato has any spirit sense, right? She just happens to be immortal. Yumiko doesn't have spirit sense. She said as much. And it's not that she has spirit sense, it's that she was formerly a mermaid. And then Arnav also does not have spirit sense. So like, there is, you know, they can't jump to Soto and they can't jump to Cersei. Maybe this is like already knowing, but I don't know. It's fun. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait for more Paranormasight when that eventually happens. I had such a blast with I had a blast with the first game. I had a lot of fun with the first game, and I had a blast with this game. So like, I know I just played it. But if you just want to experience it yourself, you know, you should get it. You should get it. I can't wait to see what they do next, because I like how they like have the Paranormal Affairs Bureau and they like mention here things in there, but like you can play this game entirely on its own. You do not need to play the first one. I imagine they'd probably like explain certain things from the first game that have already been explained, especially like the first game is about the curse stones. So like this, any game after that gets to use the curse stones as a prop, without it being about that in the same way. Right? So like, they ended up being like important props for the story, but they weren't the main focus, you know? So I'm curious of what they do next. I wonder what's on the docket, what's brewing in the minds of these folks, because I want to see another Paranormasight game. It was so fun just to see that Paranormal, because like I remember briefly seeing it was announced, and then I feel like so quickly after it came out, and then people were talking about it, or at least the people I followed were talking about it, because the people I follow on the internet already really liked the first Paranormasight, and they had positive opinions on it and everything. But you know, like it's been several months since it came out. It took me a long time to play this game, but I actually feel better that I did. I don't know, there is really something to be had with these kind of like slower experiences of like a game and of something for it to sit in your brain for that long. I suppose that's also like the same thing when it comes to like watching TV and like binging TV shows as opposed to just like watching an episode a week type of thing. It gives you like a different experience and a different like appreciation, and also it allows I am curious that if I played this game all at once in like a number of sittings, like one after another, would some of the stuff not work for me more or things like that. But I don't know. I am not going to discount how I feel, which is hugely positive. Hugely positive. I really love the characters. They are all a delight. I really enjoyed the kind of different elements. I think it's so funny how I could have Soto run, just like he's like, I will not question anything you say. Oh, tell my grandmother to crack a joke. Absolutely. You know what, Soto, you're a real one. The thing is what I would really, really like to see is the paranormal. I would love a little like short story with the paranormal investigation crew, like Small Dog, Yumiko Shiki, Soto Kiryu, the detectives from the last game, I don't remember any of their names. The psychic, the fact that one of the detectives from the last game's daughter is crazy. She was so cool. I loved her. She was so fun. This game has really compelling like female characters and women characters too. Just really, really engaging. I think all the characters are really, really engaging. Like even Tomoshige / Kipe Koma. It was fun to read all the characters, and it was fun to see them
hit each other and bounce upon each other. It's like, it's fun. I think, I don't know, I just think it's very well done. I can absolutely see why it'll take a very long time to make these games, because it's crazy. And like, you're gonna want to do more with something when now that you have the tools at your disposal. So, you know, and then if you want to learn all the Mockingbird lore, you're gonna have to play the game yourself. I won't say what I'll do. It will not be fun to watch me play that, and I also have no interest in doing that. It's cute, it's fun if I happen to run into it, but it's like, it's not what the game is. It's just fun. Which I do think is cute. I do like the Mockingbird stuff. They just get to be a little silly with it. But yeah, that's where I'm going to leave you guys for today. I have absolutely no idea what other game I'm going to be playing after this. It'll be Pathologic 3 for a little while, for sure. That's just gonna, that's like, from How Long to Beat that, Pathologic 3 is more than twice the length of this game. But it will, I'm not sure yet. I have no idea what the next game I'll play is. I have a list. I have an ever-growing list of stuff, so we'll see what I decide to do from there, if it's another visual novel or what. But I have a lot of options, so. Alright. I hope you guys have a great one. Bye!